Well, John S.'s Sports Channel, where we are going into the final video of 2024, isn't it, for the Championship? It's the first games of 2025, 1st of January. We're going into game week. What are we on? Game week 25, I do believe. Yeah. We're going to start with Plymouth versus Bristol City. Now, Plymouth, obviously, last time out, Oxford they lost 2-0. Lose, draw, lose. The draw was pretty good, wasn't it? 3-3 against Middlesbrough and at home. So they can play good football. They started out playing a hell of a lot better than what I thought they would. And I remember saying, Rooney's playing a damn sight better football than what I thought he would do. Good on him. But then it seemed to go pear-shaped, and they started playing average football. And more recently, they've just sort of just carried on going down. And I think that's where the problem is. He can play good football. He can get a good tune out of this team. He has got a good tune out of this team. But he doesn't seem to be able to reverse this and pull that team back out when it starts doing badly. And that seems to be the problem. And I personally think that's a similar situation to Manchester City. He's used to having that great side that can just trounce at 99% of all teams in the English leagues. They've never had a really, really bad period. And as soon as they get into a bad period, he's perhaps not able to pull them out. He's not had to. And I don't think Rooney can. And unfortunately, we're at the beginning of the season. We're right in the middle of the season, first half. Can he turn this one around? I think, he can get a good tune out of him. Can he turn it around? I'm not quite sure. Will he turn it around now against at home to Bristol City? Bristol City have started playing really well. If you look at the table, they're now in 10th position on 33 points. One more win, two more wins, and they're in the middle of the top six. So they've got a bit between the teeth. They've got something to play for. Whereas Plymouth are, to put it bluntly, 18th, bottom of the table. Hull in 21st are on 22 points. 4 points ahead of them. They need 5 just to leapfrog them. So it's going to be really difficult to do this. And it's difficult to see them actually. I'm getting over a cold, so I do apologise for the sounding very, very ill. It's because I am. So in this case, I just can't see much good fortune coming out of this for Plymouth Argyle. Just a quick note on the management situation from my sources. I'm getting the news that Plymouth actually can't get rid of Wayne Rooney, and even if they wanted to, it'd be too financially difficult to get him sacked. The only way he was going to get to go is if he walks physically from his job and says goodbye. After the Oxford game, that's the first time he said, perhaps I'm going to have to consider just walking out and giving up. That is the only way, from what I've heard, of Plymouth getting rid of Wayne Rooney, because they just cannot afford to pay him off and get rid of him and get someone else in of a decent calibre to replace him. So I do wish the fans luck, and I do hope they get what they deserve and what they hope for. Personally, I did think that was a bit of a risky move getting him in. However, sometimes these risks pay great dividends, don't they? So, maybe it was a good result, a good thing to do on paper. So, what am I going to go for? I'm going to go for Plymouth Argyle 0, Bristol City 3. I just think that Bristol City have got a bit between the teeth, and they're really wanting to carry on into that upper echelons, and we'll go on to QPR versus Watford. Now, QPR versus Watford. QPR obviously down in 17th, on the rise. They're doing quite well. They've been quite draw heavy with 11, haven't they? Against a Watford side that don't seem to be drawing many at all. They were drawn 4 this season. So will QPR control this one in the way that we know they can do against the better teams, and draw this? Because I think, make no bones about it, if they believe that the best way of planning this one is to be a draw, QPR are more than able and more than capable of putting this one out to a 1-1 draw. Absolutely. Or will they go for an out-and-out win? Now, I don't think there's much of a difference between the two. I think that they're quite likely to look at this team and think, Watford in 7th place, they're in 17th. Watford have a lot to play for. They're equal 6th, actually. So they don't want to be thinking this is going to be a walkover. It isn't, but equally, they don't want Watford to think it's going to be a walkover either. Now, Watford have been playing some damn good football. We say that, and they really didn't play very well at all against Cardiff. I mean, where did they go? 2-1 defeat against Cardiff, and we really thought that Watford would walk that one. Everybody thought that was a sure win for Watford. And Cardiff go and win it 2-1. And it was at Watford, So, strange things are happening at Watford. They can lose games that we expect them to walk away with 3 points from. So, it's by no means a one-way street, this. Indeed, QPR are higher up than Cardiff, so hell, anything could happen. And I look at this and I think QPR have started to get a resemblance of a decent squad here and a decent performance. And I mean consistent decent performance. Yeah, they occasionally don't turn up. I don't think they particularly turned up against Swansea, but, the consistency, as in, turning up and playing a similar style and class of football each week, is seemingly starting to rub off now. So, I would expect them to be scoring, 2 or 3 goals at home, because they just have that ability to get the fans going, and it's at home as well, so that they should have a really good time here. But Watford, they can be up and down. They certainly have, more recently have been playing some great games, and then all of a sudden, like last week, they just don't turn up, and you think, I don't know why. Hull City, don't really think they turned up there. QPR versus QPR Watford last time, 0-0. At Watford, I think that has an omen to me, because that was very much QPR putting the stoppers on it and thinking, they're up there, we're down here, we just don't want to get away with being defeated here. Let's go for the draw, which is, and they obviously have 11 draws this season. For that reason, I'm going to go for QPR 1, Watford 1. And we'll move on. I think that could be a Watford win, but it could also be a QPR win. So we'll see. I'm going to go for a draw. Technically, I would have to go for Watford, but I think it's we'll stick with that. Millwall versus Oxford now, and now I have been saying that Millwall have been doing so well at home, and as soon as I start saying that every week, guess what? They do crap. And lose, win, lose, win, win, lose, win, lose, draw. My God, they really have been mixing it up just as much as that as well. The performances, was it the other game they just didn't turn up for? I thought it was the Borough game they didn't turn up for, wasn't it? It's like, and they just keep not turning up, Millwall. It's like, where did they go? They're just standing around like Skittles on the pitch. Oxford, though, they can do exactly the same thing. Draw, lose, 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 win, win. They do seem to have got a little bit of momentum, but it's only again a 3-2 win against Cardiff at home and a 2-0 win against Plymouth at home. And they should have got more than 2 against Plymouth. Should have been at least 3 or 4. And that worries me because Plymouth was standing around letting them get through that back line. How on earth they didn't get more in the net was beyond me. So I'm a little bit worried that this might be some really strange 0-0 all of a sudden. However, I think that we're going to see an Oxford side that are certainly thinking that they can outdo this Millwall side. Plus, they would love to be able to get back up to that sort of middle third of the table, wouldn't they? So we've got Millwall in, if I can get to the table, 13th on 29 points. We've got Oxford in 20th on 24 points. Oxford will be wanting to his new manager bounce as well, remember? So let's think about that. Can they do it? Millwall obviously sort of still finding the feet after losing their manager, so they're also sort of in a sort of new managerial bounce as well, aren't they? So I just don't see either of these really wanting to lose this one for different reasons. I see this one being quite a cagey affair. And I can't see it being a draw. If you look at the two teams, 8 draws for Millwall, 6 draws for Oxford. Not massive. Oxford slightly more. I think that we have to think that there's going to be probably 2 goals, 1 goal. I'm going to go for a 2-1. I'm going to go for Millwall 2, Oxford 1. But this could be either way round, couldn't it? This is going to be really, really close until the last breath of the game, I think. And then we'll go on to Burnley versus Stoke. And, we have to look at the table, don't we? Burnley up in 3rd place. 13 wins, 2 defeats, 9 draws. Against Stoke in 18th. 6 wins, 7 draws, 11 defeats. Obviously, now starting with different managerial style now, so we're going to be completely different, aren't we? It's interesting because I look at this and I think they needed something, because the way they were going, they could play good up front, but the possibilities up front just seem to have dried up of recent, and the defence just seems to make such stupid errors sometimes. And I'm sorry we gave you the goalie, and he seems to be making more than one or two cock-ups himself. So we can't carry on like that. You can't keep giving away the ball like he has done a couple of times now, straight to the attacker right in front of him. Just don't do it. But what do we think of the actual game? Burnley can score quite a few from a relatively minimal number of shots on target. Remember that, because Stoke City don't quite get that. They're not as good as that. They need plenty of shots on target to be able to score a couple. So I think that we have to be looking at a Burnley win here, because I think that Stoke City just don't have that fear factor, I suppose. And Burnley at home, with that crowd, I think are just going to be too much to handle for Stoke City. Last time out, Stoke City won against at home to Sunderland, but Sunderland have been a bit haphazard, a bit hit and miss of late. They start to play a little bit better, but they can play every so often. Just where's all that skill and class that we played with at the beginning? Middlesbrough 0-0 draw last time out for Burnley. I think that they'll probably manage a very close win here. I don't think there's going to be many shots on goal here at all. And I think this could be quite a boring game. But I think it's going to be Burnley 1, Stoke City 0. And we'll move on to the next game. I'll try and go as quickly through them as we can now. Cardiff, of course, at home to Coventry. Now, I do a lot of listening to the Coventry City fans, and you look at them. When they started going down the league, they were like panicking away. There's no problem panicking, and of course they got rid of Robbins. I couldn't understand why, but now you understand why, because who they've got in is a damn good replacement, isn't he? 28 points, 24 games, 15th in the league. Cardiff 22nd, 21 points. They're not so far behind. However, we are seeing a fair few. We are seeing a fair few good performances now from Coventry, and I don't see that being a very good thing for Cardiff, because what we've seen for Cardiff: draw, lose, win against Watford, but then you see Watford really didn't turn up for me. Again, and then Coventry win, lose, draw. I mean, the defence for Coventry didn't turn up against Portsmouth. The rest of the team did. The defence didn't, though. West Brom, they sort of turned up, but they just couldn't fire anything off at goal that was any decent. So it's been a bit of an up and downer. And for that reason, I just think there's lots of goals in this, though, isn't there? There's lots of goals. What's getting me is the number of goals in the Cardiff games, both for and against. They can be tons of goals. Their defence is garbage of recent, and their strike rate is not particularly poor. And yet you go to the Coventry side, they scored 4-0 against Plymouth, but then they lost 4-1 against Portsmouth, so they can do the same. I'm going to go really strange. I'm going to go Cardiff 3, Coventry 3. Let's see if we get that one right. And then we go Leeds versus Blackburn. Now, I hate to say, but we've got a Leeds side that have been very, very consistent against a Blackburn one that just seems to have the run of the green. Until the last 3 games, and the last 3 games, I don't think their quality's changed, but I think that the results have, and the run of the green just seems to not quite have gone for them. Win, lose, draw, lose, and I don't think the Blackburn side is any poorer. Please tell me if you disagree with the Blackburn fans, but I think that the run of the green and the officialdom's decisions, referees' decisions, linesmen's decisions, just seem to be going the other way a little bit more often of late, shall we say. Against a Leeds side, win, draw, win. They seem to go the bit between the teeth, and occasionally 4-0 against Oxford, they can put a few goals in the net. 3-1 against Borough. It's not usually that. It's usually 2 or 1s and 2s. But I think that in this one, you're going to see a Leeds side, certainly at home. Last home game, 4-0 win against Oxford. The one before that, 3-1 against Borough. Before that, 2-0 against Derby. And if you look at the scores there, let none in, let none in, let none in, let one in, let one in, let none in. I'm going to go with Leeds 3, Blackburn 1, and we'll see the roll of Leeds continue, and that inevitable stoppage of Blackburn getting the run of the green. to continue as well. Luton Town versus Norwich next, and Luton have been improving, haven't they? And they're against the Norwich side that were improving. They've been like yo-yos, haven't they, this season? They've been really good, they've been really awful. And then they started to just pick up a little bit of late, and I thought that they were just starting to do quite well. And then they really kick it for me. They won against Millwall, where somehow it wasn't that the Norwich side that I'm used to that's really technically brilliant. And then QPR 1-1. They could have lost that one really easily. No matter how much game time they had, their game possession they had, they could still have lost it. Yeah, and especially when it was 1-1, and you think, I just can't. I want to say that Norwich are the favourites here. Norwich are, of course, in 12th. Luton, though, have come up that table into 19th, and they're only 5 points behind them now. So you can see how the two are going in opposite directions form-wise. And Luton Town, draw, win, lose, lose. I can see both of these needing to get some consistency going, because you put that against the Norwich's lose, draw, lose, win, draw. You can see how there's very little consistency in here, and they need a little bit more. Both of them need a little bit more. They need to start putting a few wins together, and they'll both be probably edgy a little bit here and trying not to lose it. And that's always, to me, a little bit of an iffy thing, because it usually means one of those sides is going to win 1-0, or it'll be a sort of 0-0, 1-1 draw. And I can actually see this being a 1-1, 0-1, 1-0. It's a case of which way do I go, or do I go on the fence? And something, I'm going to go on the fence. Luton Town 1, Norwich City 1, and we'll move on. And we go to Portsmouth versus Swansea next. And Portsmouth are in 23rd position on 20 points. They've dropped in there with that poor performance last time. Swansea in 9th on 33 points. Portsmouth win, draw, lose, win, lose. They really need to start getting a win in here. But they're against a side, Swansea, who have got their mojo back for scoring. And I think that Portsmouth are going to find this one, unfortunately, because they're actually my local side. I'm actually not far from Portsmouth. I think that Swansea are just hitting the net too often. They've started to play some really good football. Not brilliant, but pretty good. Certainly, I think that the supporters should be proud of the steady improvement. And I hate when the teams suddenly throw certain players on, bang, the performance improves tenfold. Because what happens when that player's injured or he gets a red card? We need all the team to start playing steadily better. That's a lot better for you fans, because it means you're capable of keeping it going. And I think that's what Swansea have done. For that reason, I'm going to go for Portsmouth 1, Swansea 2, and we'll move on to Sheffield Wednesday. And it's Sheffield Wednesday at home against Derby County. Now, he's used to being at the old Hillsborough Stadium with Rotherham. So, what's he going to be doing with Derby County? The boss obviously quite used to there. He's used to disliking the fans immensely. So he's gonna be up for this one, isn't he? Sheffield Wednesday, draw, lose, win, draw, lose. Last time out, poor defeat against Preston. I thought Preston played really well, but I don't think Wednesday managed to come back in the way that I thought they would do. The Borough draw was amazing comeback, absolutely amazing. So they can do it, but they just didn't against Preston. Derby County, lose, draw, win, lose, win, lose. Again, this is up and down. The only thing I will say is that I think that Paul Warne's got a lot more to prove here. He dislikes Hillsborough immensely. He knows he's not keen on the crap he got from as a Rotherham manager from the Wednesday fans and the Wednesday board and teams. I think that he's going to be just as eager to put this one to bed, if not even more. So I think that it's going to be a very heated game, and I think that we could very well see anything we need to know from the last couple of games. Let's just have a quick look. Not really. So it's going to be a very tight game, quite heated, quite full-on attacking football. Probably a couple of quite a few yellow cards, I should imagine. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday 2, Derby County 3, and I was going to put that the other direction. I think it's going to be high scoring. I just think it's going to, which way is it going to go? And I switched that one at the last minute, so you'll have to watch that one, won't you? And see which way it actually goes. So we've got West Brom next against Preston, and Preston have started to play some good football. West Brom have carried. It's not the Drawthorns anymore. However, the last time at home was a 2-0 win to Bristol City. Before that, it was a 2-0 win to Coventry. Before that, it was a 2-2 draw to Sheffield United. The draws seem to have disappeared, but they seem to be letting in goals quite often as well. Whereas Preston, they're probably exactly the same. Draw, win, draw, lose, win for Preston. Draw, win, lose, draw for West Brom. There's not much in it. Who they're playing against, not much difference. Who they're losing against, no, not much difference. Derby, a defeat for West Brom. QPR defeat for Preston. Preston sometimes don't turn up, sometimes do. Preston can play really well away from home. Absolutely can. They played some of their best football away from home, I think. West Brom can be quite cagey at home, and until recently, it has been known as the Drawthorns. I think that this newfound we're not going to get a draw at home maybe slightly in their downfall here. I'm going to go for West Brom 1, Preston 2. And then we go to Hull City, and we've got Hull versus Borough. And this is one of those sides where, Hull City now really do need to get the bit between the teeth and away from that bottom three. They're in 21st with 22 points, but they're only 1 point ahead of the drop zone. Borough in 6th on 37 points. They're not wanting to let go of that top 6 position, are they? So where do we see this game going? Hull City lose, draw, lose, win, lose, win. 2 wins against Swansea City at home and Blackburn Rovers away. They've managed to get one over Blackburn Rovers. That was a pretty good game for them. I didn't think they played great, but they certainly played well enough to win it. Borough, on the other hand, draw, lose, win, draw. All of a sudden they just don't seem to be able to get anything. 3-0 up against Wednesday, wasn't it? 3-3 draw in the end. 3-3 against Plymouth Argyle away. And you're thinking, wow. They just don't seem to turn up There's a couple of those where Sky reporters said, well, they didn't turn up the other day, what's going to happen? And I think Blue Monday podcast said the same. Borough didn't turn up one or two games. They just and it's not like Borough, but of recent they have started to just play average football every so often. They are away from home as well, so it's going to be quite difficult, this one. Dare I say it, I think both of these need to win this for different reasons, and neither of them want to particularly go away with a defeat. And I think that because it's at Hull, is going to make it quite a cagey game. Hull City 0, Borough 0. Ouch. Because of it being cagey. Purely because of it being cagey. And then we've got Sunderland versus Sheffield United. And we've got Sunderland are in fourth. Sheffield United in second. Very little between these two teams, really. Sunderland have played better than they are playing now. Then they played quite poorly. If you could call it that. Poorly for them. Brilliant for other people, but poorly for them. And now they start to play a little bit better. Sunderland win, draw, win, draw, lose last time out against Stoke City, and I really don't understand how they couldn't win that one. Sheffield United draw, win, lose, draw, lost against Burnley. Drew against West Brom at home, and all of a sudden they seem to have a chink in their armour. Is this going to be one of those 6 games where we see very little progress for them? A little bit of a cooling off 6 games. A bad period for them. I think it will. I think it's going to be Sunderland 2, Sheffield United 0, and that concludes our results for that game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's John Essex Sports Channel, over for another championship prediction video. Please like and subscribe. See you again next time.